Welcome back everyone to the second part of this webinar on supporting people with dyslexia using a Windows PC in conjunction with Dyslexia Scotland. And in the second half we're going to be looking at a range of tools to support reading. So that's going to be covered by myself, Craig, and my colleague Allan Wilson, who's the Information Officer at Cole.
Hello again.
So we're just going to jot down to the reading section and then Allan will share his screen and then we'll get started. Okay, so just move down to reading. And now, Allan, if you'd like to share your screen and just cover some of the tools that we're doing.
There we go. Right, there are lots of utilities available for what we refer to as text-to-speech, which is a very, very useful tool to use when working with people with dyslexia. It's so often the case that if somebody has difficulty reading text, then it can be made much easier if they can hear the text being read out at the same time. And there are various tools that can be used to cover text-to-speech, and most of them are covered in the information section of our website. I'll just click back a couple of links and so show you how to get to the text-to-speech section of the website. Just go back to the home page and click on information. Then scroll down past the additional support needs section, pass through into the technology section, and click on text-to-speech. And the first tool I'm going to be using is one called Ivona MiniReader. This can be used in almost any program where you've got text that you can select with the mouse pointer. It can be used on web pages, on PDF documents, and Word documents. I'll say almost anything which you've got text that you can select. I'm just going to open up the program to start with. So I click on my Windows icon in the corner and I've actually added Ivona MiniReader to my taskbar here. So that's Ivona MiniReader. It's a very small toolbar. Some people might find it quite hard to read. And the way when it opens up, it provides lots of functions. You can choose whichever voice you want to use, choosing from the voices on your computer. And you can alter the speed at which it reads, and you can change the volume. Let's just hear it. It's a reading bit of text. So I'm just going to select this first paragraph and click on the play button.
A text-to-speech program or text reader on your computer or tablet reads text from a document or web page to you using a computer voice.
That's using one of the Scottish voices, one called Stuart. So that's a very, very quick look at Ivona. One or two other little things to mention. This toolbar, it's really quite long and it can get in the way. So if you don't want to be changing your voice settings in terms of the voice that you're using or the speed or the volume, you can turn off the right hand side of the toolbar by just clicking on these wee chevrons up here. So click on that and it's now much more manageable. It's very, very it's discreet.
Yeah, I'd say
it's
hidden quite about it, isn't it? It's quite so discreet.
It keeps it out of the way. However, that can be quite hard for some people to see. So, having looked at some of the text on the website, I'll just show you how to get it. As we scroll down, we've got information about text readers in general, what you need to have text-to-speech to work. And as I come down, we've got a list of various programs here. We've maybe got too many things here because everybody sees this list of, I think it's now up to 3, 6, 8, it's about 14 different things, and people say, well, which one should I get? Good question, which I'm not going to answer.
Spoiled for choice.
Yes, exactly. So if you want to get Ivona MiniReader, which is really good as a sort of a general purpose text reader, just click on Ivona MiniReader, get more information about Ivona. Now, Ivona was originally produced in Poland, and there was a web company called Ivona who actually produced it, but that hasn't been supported for a few years. So it's now on various third-party free software sites, and some of these can be a bit dodgy to go to, but 2 cows is pretty safe. So just click on 2 cows. And to get to the software, I would just click on this big green button marked Download Now. Some of these download sites, you've got about choice of about 10 different buttons, and 9 of them take you to where you don't want to go. But this site is pretty safe. So that is a quick look at Ivona MiniReader. Next one I'm going to look at is called NaturalReader. It can be used in the same circumstances as Ivona. It's a sort of general purpose text-to-speech program. Can read PDF documents, web pages, but it's got 1-2 little additional functions compared with Ivona. So I'm going to shut down, close my Ivona window. And okay, here we go. This thing is so small, it's hard to click on it. And next I'm going to bring up NaturalReader. And again, we've got a NaturalReader tile. This is using the free version. There's a paid for version that's got a few extra facilities. What I can do, I can use this in what's known as the floating bar mode. So click on that, and now it'll work just the same way as Ivona, except you've got a bigger toolbar. So if somebody's got slight visual impairment and find Ivona, the toolbar for Ivona to be a bit too small to read easily, then NaturalReader is quite a good choice for it. Let's just get some text for it to read. And so I'll just select the text about the description of NaturalReader, and I'll click on the play button.
NaturalReader is a free text reader which can be installed on your PC. It operates in its own program window or as a floating toolbar.
Okay, that's so far very, very similar to Ivona, but it's got this little option here, drop-down option here, marked text. So if I click on that, what it's done is actually copied the text in that I copied. And if I was to play that again.
NaturalReader is a free text reader which can be installed on your PC. It operates in its own program window or as a floating toolbar.
You can see that the words are highlighted as they're being read out. So this is quite a useful one so that some people can follow the text as it's being read back. There is an option to use it in sort of full screen mode, which I can get at by clicking on this icon here. I think it is, yes. And this one is quite good if you want to open up and read, say, a PDF document. I just happen to have a copy of Fantastic Mr. Fox as a PDF.
I was going to ask you, is it just web pages, but it reads PDFs?
It reads PDFs as well.
Yeah.
And so what I can do is I'll just go a bit further up into near the start of this document.
It's quite a nice interface, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice and clear.
Yeah.
The text comes from the original PDF, so it's copied the text in.
So it's large print, isn't it?
Yeah, it's large. It's a large print, 24 print one. And if I click on the play button.
This is an accessible copy of a printed book.
In the wrong place, but
all rights to this accessible copy are retained by unauthorised. Roald Dahl was born. He was educated in England before starting work for the Shell Oil Company in Africa. He began writing after a monumental bash on the head, sustained as an RAF fighter pilot during the Second World War. Roald Dahl is one of the most successful and well-known of all children's writers.
Okay, that's enough to get a flavour of how NaturalReader works. So NaturalReader can be, like Ivona, it can be used in PDFs, websites, Word documents, spreadsheets. You can use it in a spreadsheet to read out numbers. Anywhere where you've got text that you can select and you want to have read out to you. Okay, I'm going to go next. We've looked at PDFs, we've looked at a website. Next we're going to look at a Word document. And what would you use for reading text in a Word document? Okay, let's just go across to Word. I'm just going to close down this web page for the moment. And here we are in a Word document. Now Craig is just going to get this back to the home part of the ribbon. Craig is after I finish, is going to go show you some nice new tools that have been added to Word the last year or so. But until recently, one of the best options for reading a document in Microsoft Word was a little add-on called WordTalk. And I've downloaded it. I'll just show you where it'll appear as an add-in. And this is the WordTalk toolbar up here. If you wanted to get WordTalk on your machine, you would go to the WordTalk website, which is one of ours, which is wordtalk.org.uk. And you could then download the program. It's free to download. Once you download it and run the installer, you need to set up Word to use it, which can be a wee bit tricky. People don't always realize just how it's done. So you'd go to File, and you'd come down to one of the options right at the bottom of the scroll right down where it says Options, and you would then go into Add-ins, and then you would come down to Manage and manage Word add-ins and click on Go. It's a bit of a palaver, which is why I'm actually going through it for you. And the WordTalk, when you first install it, it wouldn't appear, it wouldn't have a tick against it, so it'd just be lurking in the background. So you make sure you put a tick against it and click on OK, and that will be the WordTalk now up and running. And how this one works is you could click at the start of the text, and we get this option will speak from where the cursor is located.
The number of fines issued to parents in England for taking children on term time holidays has almost doubled in a year, statistics show. Penalty notices rose by 93% to almost 223.
I could, if I wanted, speak a whole paragraph. Let's do a short one. Let's speak this paragraph.
Penalty notices rose by 93% to almost 223,000 in 2017 to 18.
It's quite good at reading numbers in the proper way, rather than reading 223,000. It realised it was 223,000 in 2017-18. You can, as I say, you could read by paragraph, you can read by sentence, you can read by individual words. It's using one of the Scottish voices. It's just the one feature that I quite like about it is the spell checker. That's up here, the one with the ABC. But I really need a word that's got an incorrect spelling in it, so let's just make a mistake. Okay, that's an incorrectly spelled word, and Word has highlighted it. So as usual, you just right click on it, and you see what the options: mistake, mistake. None of those actually. But if I go to the WordTalk spell checker, click on the tab, and we've got the same top options.
Mistake.
But we can actually hear the words directly rather than having to click through on the word. That's only recent versions of Word that have had that option.
Mistake. Mistake.
That sounds like the one that I want. So what I would do now is just type on or click on replace spelling like that, and that's it. Corrected. Right, speaking of Word, I think that Craig at this point will be showing some more features.
Yep, okay,
Word.
is that you covered all
That's
the...
me covered.
I wanted to, do you think you can, you don't have to do it, but maybe just highlight, if you would maybe highlight a bit of text and then save it as an MP3, but just quick maybe show folk where that is, because that might be quite handy, isn't it?
If you're wanting to make an MP3 for a copy of your text, you can simply highlight some of the text, and you would click on this sign with the speaker which says Save Sound Files, and you can save to a WAV file or to an MP3 file, and that could then be played. But you could put that on a mobile phone or an MP3 player, and play it back, listen to it on the bus on the way to school in the mornings. One other thing I should have mentioned, I'll just come out of that, in the settings. This spanner is a tool for the settings, and you can change the speech, or vary the speech. It's got access to the voices that you've got on your computer. Color, I should have mentioned this one. You can change the color highlighting. I was using yellow in that one, so it's highlighting a sentence in yellow and reading in each individual word in grey, or it's highlighting individual words with grey as they're being read out. There are also some keyboard shortcuts. Sometimes some of these can be quite useful if somebody is. There was a really useful one, but I've forgotten what it was. No, I can't remember. But for many people, if they just wanted to listen to individual words, they could just sort of click on the individual word and then Alt 4 to speak the word, if you're just not sure of a particular word in some text. The other thing in options, it can read back individual letters or words or echo sentences. It's got the speak on double click, that's what I was thinking about before. Let's try these. Sometimes these features don't work, but I'm just going to be brave and I'll just try this, echo a sentence. Let's say.
Do you need to save the settings? No.
Save settings is one of the aspects that doesn't necessarily work very well.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens now. Today is Thursday. And I type a full stop.
Thursday. Today is Thursday.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
It's worked very well. Yeah. I should warn you that there are some versions of Word and Windows that feature doesn't seem to work very well, but it seems to be working quite well for me. Anyway, I think this time I really will.
Okay, Alan, if you want to stop sharing your screen. That's the one. Just that. Yep. Okay. Great. Stop sharing. Okay, folks, and I'm going to share my screen now, and just got a couple of things to show you before we finish. And so if you want to know where you get WordTalk from, there you are. There's the WordTalk site, and it's very well supported with supports, downloads. I say it's free, a great little tool that can support reading and writing as well, with lots of options to choose from. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at just now a couple of tools that are built into Word, not just the Word that you install onto your computer, but also the online version. So that's the sort of Office 365 online, which is available to all teachers and pupils through Glow. So it's a really good tool to get. And just before we start, to just see that on the call site, if you go to Call Scotland to downloads, we've got a nice poster there, Raising Attainment with Microsoft Learning Tools, which covers
Greg's work,
which covers all the things I'm going to show you on here. So these posters, although you can view them electronically, they're really designed to be printed off in A3 and stuck on the wall for pupils and teachers, and just to sort of give a quick background to what they can do. So first of all, I'm going to bring up a Word document, and this is just a plain Word document here, nothing fancy about it. Probably, I think it's Office 2016. I think we've got one of the latest versions. And if I go along my bar at the top from the Home insert, when I come to View, what I've got is just the usual tabs where you can change between print layout, read mode, that sort of thing. But one of the new additions is this thing in here called Microsoft Learning Tools. So if I click on Microsoft Learning Tools, you can see that what happens is that the page layout changes slightly, and also there's some new additional sort of topics there or tools that you can use. So let's say I wanted to maybe say, for example, a line focus. So I'm really struggling with all the sort of text that's on there, and I just want to read one line of text at a time. So what I can do is maybe choose one line of text at a time. And you see how that darkens out the text, and it just allows me to focus on that particular bit of text. Of course, I could maybe do 3 lines if I wanted to, or even 5 lines. It's up to, there's lots of good options there for people to use. I'm going to take that off just now. Also, there's an option, some people with literacy difficulties find the spacing of the words quite difficult. So there's not a lot of options on how you can change. It's kind of fixed in what you can do there, but there might be some things you can, that might be helpful. Just toggling between the two might be quite useful. And as well, maybe if you're working in a class and you're looking at sort of the different syllables and how you can break words up into different components, that might be a useful tool as well. But the other really good tool is this thing called the Read Aloud. So if we click on Read Aloud.
Clyde Canal and near River Carron in the Helix, a new parkland project built to connect 16 communities in the Falkirk Council area, Scotland.
And you see how that's
designed
just
by sculptor Andy Scott and were
reading.
completed.
And there's a little toolbar just along the right side here where you can have different kind of voices. I don't think you can currently use the Scottish voices yet. It's kind of the mobile voices that you have. But as Allan showed you earlier on in NaturalReader, you can forward or go back, that type of thing, or pause, or just across to click it off. So we could have some of these tools working together. So for example, if I just click at the Kelpies there, and let's go to line focus and have one line of text. So now I've got the line of text and
The
I'm
Kelpies
pressing
are
play.
30-meter high horsehead sculptures, standing next to a new extension to the Forth and Clyde Canal, and near River Carron, in the Helix, a new parkland project built to connect 16 communities in the Falkirk Council area, Scotland.
Yeah, okay, so I think you get the idea. And once you're finished with learning tools, then it's just a case of just closing learning tools and it disappears and you're back to normal. Okay, so that's just along to view and look for learning tools and in learning tools, and then just a chance for you to explore those options. Okay, so that's the kind of installable version of Words. But the other version that might be of use, if I just go, is the online version. So you can see it looks quite similar. You'll need a OneDrive account for this. And again, you get that free from Glow if you're a teacher or a pupil. So this is a really great resource that you can get. And again, got the same kind of menu structures there. We've got home, insert, and you can see that the online version looks quite similar to the installable version. And just along at the end here, we've got this view option, same place as it was on the installable version of Word. And again, we've got this thing called Immersive Reader. So learning tools, Immersive Reader, they're much the same thing. And the idea is it just immerses you into your reading. So let's click onto Immersive Reader. And the page layout changes slightly. And there's a few things about this page to notice. We've got a double A up here. We've got a sort of a wand with some lines and a book icon. And then down here, we've got the play icon as well and some speech settings. So let's just, first of all, let's just play it so you can hear it.
All about summer. The weather is hot and sunny. Crops grow in the fields. Bees buzz around the...
So nice bit of text-to-speech there. It's might be quite useful for supporting pupils. We can also, you see, I'm just sort of clicking onto the word and you can maybe hear each individual words. Rather than hearing all the words, you might just want to hear one word. Or we could go up to the double A here and maybe just start doing sort of customizing, individualizing the page for the different learners' needs. So we could, for example, just increase the text size. That might be quite useful. Change the spacing. There's an option there to change the spacing. I think that I actually quite prefer that actually when the spacing's out like that. Or it could be there's some very, very sort of limited options for changing the font, but it might be, for example, that you might want to have it high contrast or just a pastel color or a yellow, and there are more colors that you can choose from there. So that's one way in which you can customize that page. If we go to the grammar options as well, you might want, as a teacher, you might find this useful to say to the pupil, okay, identify the nouns in that page. That's one way you could do that, or identify the verbs, so that there's a useful tool. But I think where it really comes into its own is just moving across to this reading preferences icon here. And again, just on the top right, we've got this line focus. Okay, so now with that sort of yellow background and the black, it's really quite strong actually. I think it's quite a powerful tool. And again, you can change between one line, 2 lines, or more lines. So you can have your line focus and still have it red.
All about summer. The weather is hot and sunny. Crops grow in the field.
Okay, so that's quite I think a powerful tool. Let's go back to the top again. Let's take off the line focus. And let's look at this thing here. So we've got this option here called Picture Dictionary. So what does Picture Dictionary do? So if we click on the word, let's click on the word. Now we've got an image or a symbol representation of the word. So now we can see the word,
Bees.
we can hear the word, and we have an image representation of the word. So let's just go, let's go for froglets. I don't think it'd have anything for froglets. Birds, lots of images on birds. Leaves. So again, a really useful tool. And of course, you could have the whole thing by document. But one thing I actually just learned yesterday was that you can translate it as well. So if you may be doing a French class, for example, let's just go back to, let's go down here. Let's see if any of you are studying French at school or at college. Oh, I don't know my alphabet here. E, F, where is it? Can you see? There it is, French, okay. So let's say I want it to translate by words in France, and I'm going into bees. And there's the French
Abeille.
Down there with a French accent. Hey, that's pretty good. So let's go back in and let's do the whole word by document. And it's translated the whole page as well. Show. Okay, so I don't know how useful that tool will be, but you never know. For some people it might be. So so that's the learning tools, and that's Word Online. I'm just going to move back to come out of that. So we're back in the page again, and just to remind you, that's File along the ribbon till you come to View, and you can find it in there. And again, that's the poster to get the poster if you wanted to. And just to say to, as Allan mentioned earlier, if you want to go to the WordTalk page to get WordTalk, you can. And of course, the Scottish voices as well. You can download those voices too. So it's the complete package, really. What do you think, Allan?
It's pretty good. It would be nice if we could access a Scottish voice, but apart from that, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to just draw it to a close. And just to remind everyone that if you want to see the resources, here are the resources. Here's the really nice sort of resource Allan put together on a whole bunch of resources and links to different things for to support dyslexia on a Windows PC. And that document, although I've got it up here, is, where is it, Allan? Is this the PDF one?
That's a PDF.
Yeah, that's a PDF version. It's in here somewhere. That's it. That's the one there. Okay, I think that's the one. Yeah. Okay, but I should also mention that these are all clickable. Okay, so even during the recording, if you come back and watch the recording, you can click on any of the links or download any of the resources. There's the download files, and they're all there. So thanks to everyone for joining today, and if you have any problems or you'd like to learn more, please get in touch with either myself or Allan. See, Allan's information officer at Cole, so he tends to answer the phone calls and very knowledgeable about all things technology and dyslexia. So thanks Allan, for doing that today.
Email address.
Yeah,
quite often people will contact us by email.
Yeah.
And the email address is callscotland. That could be done as one word. callscotland@org.uk.
Okay, so callscotland at callscotland.org. Sorry.
In callscotland. Oh gosh, I can't even remember our email address.
I know mine is craig.mill@ed.ac.uk.
I'm alan.wilson@ed.ac.uk. Okay. It's call.scotland@ed.ac.uk. There's also info@callscotland.org.uk. I was just getting the two of them mixed up. So it's call.scotland@ed.ac.uk would be the one that I tend to use.
Okay, and actually all the resources tend to lead back to the Cole website, so you could get our email addresses there. Okay, thanks folks, thanks for joining. I'm going to stop the recording now, and as I say, get in touch, any problems. Thanks again. Okay.
See you again soon.
Thanks, Alan. See you. Bye.